Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
Yo, what is going on, LumioseStation? This is your boy Dan, aka aDrive, bringing you a community submission, bringing you an NU Wi-Fi battle. Here we go. I'm playing against my boy Darius. I'm just going to quickly run through the teams. I'm running a Choice Scarf Rotom, Focus Sash Ariados, Leftovers Kling Klang as a sweeper. I got my boy Eating It Up, the Gourgeist, which goes so hard in every Wi-Fi battle except for this one. I got my Mismagius, Life Orb, and my Rapid Spinner, War Turtle, which has Eviolite. And just looking at his team, I'm thinking that Slurpuff could be a really big threat because you never really know what those things are going to do. They have a couple different sets that they could potentially run. The Seadra is pretty interesting, and the Salt could be mean. I'm definitely expecting him to either lead with the Plusle or the Bastiodon. But let's get started with the battle. And we're going to get things kicked off here. Like I said, I am going to be leading with my Rotom. It is Choice Scarf. I feel like I have the momentum regardless of what he ends up doing here. So I'm not really sure he's going to lead with, but he ends up leading with his Bastiodon. So I'm thinking his first objective here is to simply get up his Stealth Rocks, which totally makes sense. I'm going to Volt Switch out and go in before Rocks and switch right into my girl Charlotte, my shiny Ariados, which is absolutely lovely. So my Ariados' objective is to get up Sticky Web and Toxic Spikes. I see he doesn't have a poison type on his team, so I know Toxic Spikes are ready to go, free to spread around the team. But I find Sticky Web to be a little bit more advantageous here, mainly because of that Sawk. If he's running Choice Scarf Sawk, I want to be able to make sure that my Mismagius can definitely outspeed it, and I have no problems taking this thing down later. So he gets up his Stealth Rocks, he roars me out, goes right into my Kling Klang, and I know my Kling Klang can take whatever this Bastiodon's going to do. So I'm just going to go straight for the Gear Grind and just try to get some damage off of this Bastiodon. Maybe he's going to switch, maybe he stays in. He does end up staying in, and I hit the Gear Grind and do a decent amount of damage. So I got this Bastiodon below health. He below half health. He probably thinks I was going to switch out because he goes for Toxic, but I actually do stay in. I had no reason not to. And I'm going to get another Gear Grind off and bring this Bastiodon almost down to killing it. And he really can't do anything to me. So I think at this point he's kind of admitted defeat with his Bastiodon and understands that his Bastiodon is kind of useless at this point in the battle. Doesn't really have anything it can do to any members of my team. I resist a lot of its hits, its Iron Heads, and the Toxic isn't going to be all that useful. So I'm thinking he's just going to let himself die and go for another Iron Head. So I go for Shift Gear, going for the early sweep, just trying to win this game right off the bat. But he does click Roar, so kind of a bad play on my part, but I was really just trying to go for the gusto, I guess you could say, and just try to win it right there. But in comes my boy Shell Shock, little Koopa here. Chilling, shiny War Turtle looking awesome as ever. And I'm just going to hit it with a Scald, and that is actually going to knock out the Bastiodon. So the Bastiodon is gone, and I'm feeling pretty good. I do have the momentum. I got my War Turtle out. I know I can pretty much take any hit from any guy on his team and get off my Rapid Spin, which is definitely my objective. I want to get those Stealth Rocks off the field. They don't really hurt my team too much. My team is kind of built in a way that Stealth Rocks don't do too much, but it is nice to have a Rapid Spinner, and I do want to get those Stealth Rocks off the field to preserve my Ariados' Focus Sash. So he does use Nuzzle, paralyzes me, but barely does any damage, and I get the Rapid Spin off. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point. And I know this Plusle could probably do some damage to me because of the type advantage, but I'm specially defensive, fully specially defensive, so I think I'm in a decent spot. He does go for the Thunder, misses, and then goes for the second Thunder, and hits this time. Does a good amount, but doesn't actually knock me out. I get paralyzed, and I'm thinking to myself, man, that kind of stinks, but is what it is. He's going to go for Grass, not thinking he's going to knock me out. Doesn't want to miss the Thunder again, but I do live it. That's what happens when you're fully specially defensive on your War Turtle. Get off a nice Torn boosted Scald, bring him down below half, which isn't too big of a deal either way, but he is going to knock me out with the Grass Knot, and I'm feeling like I'm in a pretty good situation here. So my War Turtle does go down, and I'm going to go right back out into my Ariados. I think this is a good opportunity for me to, one, knock out this Plusle because I can use Sucker Punch, and two, I can get on my Toxic Spikes, which to me is going to be very important in the rest of this battle. Not only setting up to kind of weaken his players, but also give my Rotom a big advantage here. So I do use Sucker Punch after he protects. I think he just kind of admitted defeat with his Plusle and realized that that thing was going to die either way. So that's exactly what happens. I knock it out with a Sucker Punch, and he's going to go out into his Seadra. So Seadra's a little bit different. You don't really know what to expect, or I didn't anyway. I'm assuming it's going to be Eviolite, so it's probably going to be defensive, but I figure, you know what, I do have a Focus Sash still intact. I'm just going to throw out my Toxic Spikes. That's what's most important to me. And he's just going to go for Scald. Does some serious damage, getting the crit and the burn. and unfortunately my Ariados really doesn't have much use at this point in the battle. So I do go for a Mega Horn just to get a little bit of damage off on this thing, and he's gonna knock me out with the Flash Cannon. So there goes my Ariados. Is what it is. Did its job though. Got up both the Sticky Web and the Toxic Spikes to help set up for the rest of my team, and that's kind of the objective with him. So I'm gonna go into Rotom just to get some damage off, get some momentum, and I do go for Volt Switch, take off a solid amount of damage on that Seadra, and I'm just gonna switch right back out and actually go into Mismagius. My thought behind switching into Mismagius here was Mismagius has really high special defense to start with, so I figured I could take any hit he wants to throw at me. Hopefully don't get burned, but of course I get burned. But either way, it was my best bet of taking out this Seadra without really risking anything else. I didn't want to waste my Kling Klang or anything like that. So I do bring out the Mismagius to use Thunderbolt, but I go for Shadow Ball in case he's going to switch. Figured it would knock it out either way. He does go for Protect to kind of stall me out to get a little bit more burn damage, which isn't a bad play at all. But I do indeed knock him out with the Thunderbolt, and that is going to be it for that Seadra. So, I'm in a pretty good situation right now. I feel pretty good about this. He's got both the Slurpuff, Leafeon, and Sawk left, all of which are pretty big threats. But he does indeed go out into his Sawk now, so I'm either expecting a knockoff or something like that. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to outspeed because of that Sticky Web, like I said, that I put up earlier. I'm going to guess that he is choiced in some way. He takes the Shadow Ball pretty well. I mean, he lived, surprisingly. It's a Life Orb Shadow Ball coming from a max special attack, Mismagius. But he does knock me out with the Payback, and that is going to be all she wrote for Hermione. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. So now I got to figure out something to take out this Sawk. But it's a pretty easy decision just to go into Rotom, who is just going to knock this thing out with a Hex. Hex is a really, really neat move that a lot of people don't really use, but in conjunction with using Toxic Spikes, it doubles the damage, so you're hitting something with 130 base power move with no drawback, as long as the other Pokemon is statused. So it's kind of a really good combination to run my Rotom with my Ariados, and it works out in this battle. So he brings out his shiny Twerk and Slurps, his little Slurpuff there, and I'm going to hit it with a Hex again, and you can just see how much damage that really does. Slurpuff is pretty bulky in terms of NU Pokemon, and I actually bring it down. I take about 70-75% off of this thing, and I think he didn't expect me to hit him that hard because he actually goes for Belly Drum and can't even Belly Drum up. So another Hex is going to knock out the Slurpuff and bring it to a 3-1 right now. All he's got left is his Leafeon, which is both going to take the Sticky Web and the Toxic Spikes when it comes back in. And I'm thinking that this Rotom is going to put in some work here in just a minute, and I know I just hit it with a Hex, and that should be pretty close to game. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to hit him with the Hex and bring him down to almost knocking him out. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. I'm a new Pokemon commentator. I just got my capture card. I've been doing this for a few weeks. I stream on Twitch pretty much every night. If you guys are feeling the content, definitely give a thumbs up to the video, because that not only helps me, but it really helps out the LumioseStation. And hopefully I can bring you guys more community submissions in the future. My YouTube link is in the description. I will see you guys later. Peace.